Hey guys, welcome to the Swell Suite. On this episode, Tanisha and I talk with Allison Wilson. She is the Director of Vineyard Operations at Cliff Lede Vineyards. She is responsible for overseeing all farming and redevelopment of the winery's 3 estate vineyards in the Stag's Leap District, Carneros, and Calistoga AVAs. We hope you enjoy this episode. Cheers. Welcome to the Swirl Suite, everyone. Happy Wine Wednesday and happy spring. Hey, Tanisha.
Happy spring.
Yeah, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, well, because spring, like stuff bloomed. The weather got nice, instantly.
The cherry blossoms are up in DC. They bloom.
And we have magnolias here. So the magnolia.
Ooh.
Someone had to tell me. I was like, oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, I didn't go out near people though. So it was a bunch of folks out viewing the cherry blossoms, but nah, it's too many people for me right now.
Two people you still not here for?
I'm not vaccinated yet, so put that out there.
Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure I might go to a concert right now. I'm like, there aren't any, but I'm saying I'm probably the one that will be at a concert. So don't mind me.
Okay. All right.
An outdoor concert.
No, I get it. I understood. Still. All right. Well, anyway. Yes. How was your weekend? Did you do anything great in Paris?
Weekend was good. I met up with a colleague and she had some American wine. So that was like a cool thing to do. So we tasted some
from where?
Wine, Washington State.
Oh, nice. That's a good choice.
Yeah, they were really good. It's always nice to taste something that's not French. As much as I love French wine, I drink it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's nice to take a little break and drink something else.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get out of my red wine. I don't want to say rut because that sounds so negative, but I should be drinking more white wine.
You should. You should.
And I should.
I think that over the past few months, I finally achieved balance. I do not drink sparkling wine all the time. I'm 50-50 with the whites and reds right now.
I am 95-5.
And you have such great white wine there. Like what are you drinking the most of that's red?
Oh, Rhone. Anything with in the blend.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I'm drinking a lot of that. I did move up to the Loire Valley, and so I was drinking some Franc, so I was doing that. So maybe I'll move over and drink some more Chenin Blanc, and then I'll move into some Chablis for the spring and summer.
Okay. I hear you. Yeah.
Maybe some rosé.
It is that season. But I don't really know what isn't rosé season. I'm one of those people that drinks rosé all year long.
But you're equal opportunity. You're going to drink rosé.
I am.
If the sun is out. You're like,
you're right.
Rosé. It's rosé time.
Absolutely. And I eat a lot of shrimp. I like shrimp and rosé.
Yeah. And rosé for that hot dog you posted.
Right. So I did grill over the weekend.
Chicago hot dog.
I grilled over the weekend, and I've been watching a lot of Food Network and food shows, and I saw some hot dogs, and it was Chicago style. And because I don't eat beef and pork, I was never able to try an actual Chicago style hot dog in Chicago.
Yeah, so you're not playing them games.
I know y'all don't play around. So I was like, well, I have some tomatoes and some relish. I know it's not like the bright relish that y'all use, and I don't have like the seeded bun that you use. I know it's not going to be exactly the same, but I could give it a shot.
Okay.
So I had a pickle, I had the relish, I had the yellow mustard, and I had the tomatoes.
The celery salt.
And the celery salt. Had that. Yeah, it was delicious.
Yes, it is.
It was so good.
Just imagine if it had the poppy seed bun.
Oh man. So y'all know how to eat. I haven't been in a very long time, but I know. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, man.
We do.
Yeah. So we have a special guest today.
Hooray!
And yes, we have a woman winemaker, Allison Wilson. Hey, Allison.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, we're hanging in there. We're happy as spring. So tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I have to make one little correction.
Okay.
I'm a viticulturist, so I don't want to credit away from the winemaker, and I was as talented and good at chemistry as all of them.
Yes, please tell me what the difference is.
So I'm the Director of Vineyard Operations. So everything from planting the vines in the ground to farming them throughout the season. The last thing I do is I put those grapes on the crush pad and then it's not my problem anymore. Just kidding. Obviously it's still my, then the winemaker does their magic and in the next few years makes the wine that we end up sending out to the consumer.
Huh. Interesting. So how did you tell us about your journey to that profession specifically?
Yeah. So, it's, how did I get to Cliff Lede Vineyards? I feel like you hear two stories in Napa, either the people who are born into it and it was just always what was going to become of their life, and the people that accidentally found themselves in wine. All of us are kind of, a series of events. And I always say that my story is choose your adventure story. There's various twists and turns that I could have taken and little things that happened that led me here. But I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, in the East Bay. And I had an uncle in Livermore, a great uncle who had a vineyard, and we would go down to the vineyard for harvest parties, maybe weekends. And I got exposed to it a little bit there, but it was not really a big part of my life. It was kind of just this, these are what some, the Greek family members do. They grow wine down there. I'm like, that's great. And, come time to apply to college, I really wanted to go to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, but they made you declare your major before you went to school. So I was a 17-year-old kid. It was a little weird. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I thought fruit science looked like an interesting major, and probably just thought it was funny and would bug my mom at the time when I chose it. So I chose fruit science. I ended up down at Cal Poly. I was in the, Department of Crop Science and Horticulture, and was the only Bay Area kid. It was a lot of Central Valley kids that came from, tree nuts and different fruit crops that were going to go back home and farm for their families. And I was just this Bay Area kid wearing sandals outside and trying to figure out how to fit in. And fast forward, by the time I was 21 in college, I got a job working in a tasting room. And I was like, here it is. I was like, this is the fruit I can focus on. And so I started focusing on grapevines. And I was about to graduate college. I still had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought maybe marketing sounded fun. Also, I knew this major that I had and all this agriculture that I'd learned about. So I started applying for all sorts of jobs. I applied for an assistant viticulturist job in Napa with Oscar Renteria. And he was looking for someone who didn't really have much experience that he could take under his wing, and hired me on about a week after I finished college in 2012. And from there, the rest is kind of history. I've been here ever since.
So. Fantastic story. I love it.
I know, right? So tell us about the winery. What kind of grapes do you guys grow?
Yeah, so Cliff Lede Vineyard. So Cliff is actually a Canadian born wine lover, and he purchased the S. Anderson Vineyard Estate in 2012. It's in Yountville. It's right on Yountville Crossroad. He came from a construction background. He just kind of loved art. He loved wine. He loves music, and it was always kind of his dream to settle down in one of the wine regions and open a winery. So he, in 2002, he opened Cliff Lede Vineyards. He kind of enlisted all of the experts in the industry and had the whole vineyard replanted. He brought David Abreu in, Michelle Roland, all the big guys to kind of get him started. From there, a few years later, he was able to acquire the Chambers Vineyard across the street. It's on Silverado Trail. And that's now what we call our poetry vineyard. So we have two vineyards in the Stag's Leap district. So one's up on the hillside off the trail, one's on the Yountville Crossroad. And then we have an estate in Calistoga and a brand new fun estate project down in Carneros.
So what do you guys actually grow there?
Sorry, sometimes
it's okay.
Sometimes I just I'm so excited to talk about the background of everything. I forget we grow Bordeaux varietals. We have Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Malbec, and Petit Verdot on the estate. We recently planted a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon. We'll probably only get a couple of tons once it's producing down in Yountville, but we have some of that up in Calistoga. And then our new project down in Carneros, we've planted all the Bordeaux down there, as well as some interesting kind of experimental varietals that we want to play with, some Marsanne, Roussanne, some Gamay Noir. So we're branching out a little bit. I'm going to try some different stuff within Napa. And then our sister brand, Fell, is over in Anderson Valley. And that's where we have our Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir, Chardonnays. How
are the vines looking now? How's the weather been for you?
The weather, it's about 80 degrees outside. So it's spring has sprung here as well. And we're just starting to get bud breaks. So right on time,
right on time.
And everything, the beginning of the season is always promising and hopeful. And we make these perfect plans for how it's going to go. And then we wait.
Huh. So what are you going to pick first? What do you think?
Our Sauvignon Blanc definitely comes in first, but as we've been getting these hotter summers, it seems like the reds and the whites are getting closer together. So we don't want to pick Cab until after September 1st, and we want to hopefully be done with Sauvignon Blanc by that time.
So speaking of Sauvignon Blanc, I am drinking a Sauvignon Blanc, and first of all, the blend to me is interesting. So you got the Semillon, and then I saw that there's something called Sauvignon Muscat. Is that how do you say it?
Yeah, Sauvignon Muscat.
I don't know much about that. Tanisha, you know about that grape?
No. Tell us more.
No, I'm curious. What is that?
School us.
It's just a different clone of Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, okay.
So fruitier, and then we have the Sauvignon Vert in there, which is another name for it is Muscadel. If you've ever heard of that. And then a little secret
that I've heard of.
Yeah.
Muscat that goes in there.
Interesting.
Because there's Muscadel in Bordeaux. So that one I have heard of, but not the other Sauvignon.
And there's not much of this Muscadel planted in Napa. We buy it from the Nicolini Sanseri family up in Childs Valley. These beautiful old vines, they were planted in 1947. It's one of my favorite vineyards to visit, and we're lucky to get a small little piece of it to put into our blend.
Sure. I do have a winemaking question. I'm not sure if you would know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I saw that you guys use oak, stainless steel, and the concrete eggs. What do you know what was behind that decision?
I think that they just wanted to, I don't ever want to speak for the winemaker, but
gotcha.
His goal is always just to make a really well-rounded wine. So we source most of our Sauvignon Blanc as of right now. Most of it comes, from an area near Rutherford, but some of it comes from Calistoga, some from Childs Valley, some from some cooler areas. And he really takes care to treat each of the lots separately. So using the different vessels just allows him to have more options when it comes to blending. I mean, we sometimes have 50 different lots that we're blending together to make this final wine.
Allison, I want to ask you a question, getting back into your core role in being a viticulturalist. I'm not sure a lot of people know exactly what that entails. Can you give us a quick job description of yours, and then maybe a typical day in your life at work?
Yeah. So, being a viticulturalist, it's a horticulturalist for grapevines. So sometimes I feel like I'm a glorified landscaper, or, we're farmers. And I think it is kind of one of those jobs that people misunderstand. Some of my friends who live in the city, I tell them I'm a farmer, and they're like, haha, yeah, you're a farmer. I'm like, no, really, I'm serious. I'm a farmer. I don't think you guys understand. So we are in charge of all aspects of growing the grapes. So from the soil management to the canopy management, so making sure the shoots are growing and uniform, to the inputs, the fungicides, the fertilizer, the compost, all throughout the season through, the formation of the entire cluster, down to thinning that fruit and developing what types of crop loads we want for the season. And then, like I said, the very last thing we are in charge of is harvesting and delivering sound and complex, beautiful fruit for the winemaking team to work with.
Okay. And so tomorrow, when you go to work, what will your day be like tomorrow? Like you go in at this time and then you leave at this time. What are you doing?
This time of year, we are working from, we start at first light. So it kind of is a moving target, this time of year, I guess we get 2 more minutes of sunlight every morning as we move to the longest day of the year. So we adjust every few weeks what time we start. We're starting about 7 right now. We meet with the crew first. So at Cliff Lede, we have, we're lucky enough to have an in-house crew. So we have 10 full-time year-round employees on staff. I've been working with most of this team for all 6 years that I've been at Cliff Lede, which is really awesome to have the same people year after year tending to the vineyard. So we meet with the crew to get down into the nitty gritty. We start with stretches every morning. The crew does their stretches. We've made up kind of a little yoga plan for them that we have fun with. And then we talk about what everyone's going to do for the day. So various people will work on floor management. They'll get on the tractor, they'll do some mowing, they'll do some weed eating, all of the glamorous part of wine country. It makes those vineyards look beautiful. And then other people will work on fertilizer. My job after, talking with my vineyard manager, his name is Beto Ochoa, and kind of delegating all of the work is just to have eyes on the vineyard. So I'll walk through the vineyard, get my observations, and then make the plans for the next day, for the next week, for the next month. And we make the same plan every year and we hope for the best. It's kind of, it's like Groundhog's Day, but then we wait for these different weather events or different circumstances to come up. And then that's when the job really starts. That's when, we're, troubleshooting and solving different problems, whether it's rain, fire, sun, snow. We had some snow a couple weeks ago, which was bizarre. It's all kind of, it's smooth and steady until we have a weather event.
Speaking of rain, do you guys need to use irrigation systems?
Yeah, we do. Especially in years like this year, the rainfall is way below average. And so we utilize an irrigation system in the vineyard, and we have about 1/2 gallon emitters per vine. And the vine density is, can be up to about 1,500 vines per acre. Then we're lucky at Cliff Lede, we have a whole wastewater pond system. So we take the water that comes in from the winery that the winery uses, whether it's cleaning barrels or washing equipment, that all goes into a wastewater pond system that we have set up, and it's connected into our irrigation. So we use that as much as possible, and we'll supplement with groundwater wells if we actually need to.
So I've read in your bio that you are the chair of the Marketing and Communications Committee at the Napa Grapegrowers. So what is that? What does that involve?
Yeah, so the Napa Valley Grapegrowers is an awesome organization in the Napa Valley. It's a trade industry group, different wineries, vineyard management companies, individual contractors are members, and they seek to have educational opportunities for members and for their employees. Also to educate the general public locally and broadly around the country and around the world. And when I guess I was in my second year at Renteria, Oscar Renteria came in and he put a sign-up sheet down. He said, I want a few of you guys to join committees, choose one. And I was like, there's member services and there's all these different committees that really make sense for a boots on the ground type of person to join. And I was like, no, I want to join the marketing and communications. I haven't talked to many people in a couple of years. I'm out there with the vines, especially at the beginning of your career. You're just walking vineyards all day. And so I chose that committee and they let me on it probably back in 2013, 2014. And I was a member forever. And then a couple of years back, I became the chair and we worked to spread the message, help out with different fundraising events, communicate with other members in the community as much as we possibly can. So it's fun. It's a nice outlet. It's a nice way to get out of the vineyard and be involved with kind of a broader group of people.
Does Cliff Lede have different ways of magnifying like wine collaborations or like mentorship programs?
So I feel like this is such an interesting question because the way that so to give some background before I kind of answer that question directly, I got to Cliff Lede Vineyards kind of a weird way through the grape growers. I was doing a harvest press conference with the grape growers and I was so nervous. I like had all these statistics I thought I was going to share with the public, and I had pages of notes, which like I still have, I'm not going to lie. And I show up on the first day and I'm on this panel with this woman named Remy Cohen. So she used to be at Cliff Lede. She's now at Domaine Carneros. And she made me feel so calm and relaxed about the situation. She told me to, throw my notes away. You're fine. You got this. And after we were done with the press conference, she said, at some point in my career, I'm going to get to hire somebody and I'm going to call you. And I was like, wow, like that's amazing. And 2 years later, October after harvest, she gave me a call and she's like, the time has come. She was like, she was the director of vineyards and winemaking, and she was going to become the VP and the GM at Cliff Lede. And she was like, I need a viticulturist. So Remy was actually the person who brought me on at Cliff Lede. She just left this spring to go to Domaine Carneros. So back to this question, I feel like I, to this point in my career, have always been the mentee. I've had all of these people that have brought me to, I'm kind of coming up to 10 years, and all these people have helped my career and helped my path. And I haven't had the opportunity yet to be that mentor. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into finding ways to help other people the way Remy helped me in this industry. And one of the things I've signed up for and that I'm really excited to start doing next season, it kind of got put on pause this year because of everything, is there's a Fields of Opportunity program that the Napa Valley Grapegrowers do. So it basically connects high school students with the larger local wine industry and helps them develop skills and shows them that, there's this whole industry here in this place that you grew up in. Try out each job, see if there's something you want to do. And then there's scholarship programs and all sorts of things for afterwards.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. And, they get to spend, it's an 8-week program. They spend 3 to 4 days per week. And then they're with different people. They go to hospitality, they go with the winemaker, they go with the vineyard manager, and they get to really see the whole industry broadly. Mm-hmm. I just think that this is a program that it's awesome to start it locally, but so many people don't even realize what the wine industry is, that I hope that it can expand eventually. And, maybe with virtual, we can bring people in from, places outside of Napa to kind of experience this.
I think that's so necessary. Because
it is.
Look at the wine industry and they think like, oh, you're a som or you're a winemaker, or maybe you work like at a wine shop, as caviste, or you just are sales associate at a wine shop, but they don't think about all the other career paths and all the other things that go into the wine industry. So they can study so many different things. Wine is art, it's geology, it's geography, it's climate,
it's history,
it's history, it's finance, it's accounting, like all that's graphic design, like all of these different things go into it. And so if someone were thinking about a career in viticulture, what kind of classes would you suggest they take? Or like, where would you, suggest they kind of start? They're like, I'm thinking about viticulture. What should I make? What should I do?
The cool thing about viticulture is that I know so many people who studied, business or marketing or, didn't go to college at all, and are able to get into viticulture because it can be so intuitive. It's, working with the land and with the plants, and it's still one of those careers and industries that you can really apprentice in and learn from people who have been doing it longer than you. It's only recently that it's become, that wine and viticulture have become a major that you can study in school. So I studied fruit science. I didn't focus just on grapevines and viticulture. I learned about all different ag, and I would just suggest if someone was really into it to take a few agriculture classes. It could even be, greenhouse horticulture, anything like that. Just get into the plant sciences, and that's definitely a good way to dip your toe in.
Well, thank you for that, because a lot of people, that's something that they don't think about, because like I know plant science and that kind of thing was offered at my university. But when you think about plant science, people are like, okay, what do I do with that? Like, am I work in a garden? Like, am I going to be a farmer? And they look at farmer as like, okay, I'm like growing corn or wheat or something like that. Like they don't look at necessarily the big picture of it. And with everything that's kind of going on in the world now, we're talking about, being more organic and natural and more sustainability and things like that. I think people are looking more into how their food is grown and where it comes from. Yeah. So thinking of this as a career path or as a study, even, doing that as a major in order to study it more is something that I think more people are interested in. So
I think that growing up in DC, where it's so government heavy, that a lot of people study like plant life and food science, and they go to government agencies and study where food comes from and how it gets to your grocery stores and your table, that sort of thing, but never that close, never like out in the vines or, out as farmers. So it's really interesting.
Sure. I mean, it's not my cup of tea. Like, I just want to drink the wine. Like, I don't want to have actually in the dirt. Because even when I've gone out to vineyards, just, like on press trips or just like visiting or taking tour groups or whatever. And there's always, it's a winemaker, someone's going to just like, look at the soil, and you pick it up. And I'm like, no, you got it. I can see it from here. Okay, thanks.
I remember one time, Allison, I used to work at a winery. And then one time I popped up at the winery. I no longer work there, but I was just visiting just to get a tasting and a bottle of wine. And Sarah, the winemaker of Black Ankle, she was in the fields on a tractor. And so the general manager was like, oh, Sarita, go to the field. Sarah's on there in the tractor. She wants to say hi. So I was like, what? I have on a dress. But I was like, hey, all right, let me just take my shoes off. And so she's in this tractor and I'm just walking through dirt and she's yelling stuff. I'm yelling stuff. I was like, oh, this is so fun. So it took my mind a minute to get there, but I think, it's fun.
If you're prepared, yes. If you're like in a dress.
True. Yeah.
and and some strappy sandals, like that might not be the time. But, when you have on your, your boots and you have on your gloves and your overalls or whatever it is you wear out in the vineyard, that's not a dress, that's more appropriate.
I've always said that I wanted to help with harvest one year because I never did. Because once people explain the day, I was like, yeah, kudos to y'all. I don't know if I want to do that all day.
It looks hard.
Like half a day.
It doesn't look fun.
It looks fun for a short time, depending on who you are. But I have to try it once. I do. I absolutely do.
I think I might do it this year because since
fun.
I have the same problem like last year with, maybe by then we'll see how vaccines go and the borders will be back open again.
Mm-hmm.
People can, at least within the European Union, they can come and help. But last year they had such a big problem of getting people to, their regular vineyard workers in. So, now is a good time to just be like, hey, let me go work a harvest. I'll probably last 20 minutes and be like, well, it was fun. Take a couple pictures, do a couple reels, and then, I might be useless.
We would love to have you guys come and visit. We talk about doing, and it's one thing was talking to the grape growers about last year. We were going to try to do a big press trip and have, do a day in the life during harvest. And I think that, no one really knows exactly what goes on. I think that, we harvest all night in the vineyard, start about 9 p.m. and we go all night. And my job is to get that fruit to the crush pad for when the winemaking team shows up. And I think my vineyard team might get mad at me for saying this, but I think that their job in the winery is harder. And they'll work 15 hours sorting through all that fruit, washing everything, sanitizing everything. It's just such a tedious process that it's really interesting to see the whole day from start to finish. And I encourage anyone who has the opportunity to come out and see it to definitely at least experience a little mini day.
I love that. I would love that. All right. So this part of our show, we just ask you random and not so rapid questions. You just give us an answer that comes to your head. Tanisha, these are for you too. What is your favorite yoga pose? I was on your Instagram. I saw you like yoga.
Oh, yeah. So my side gig that I always said, if anything happened, I could just teach yoga. And then the pandemic happened. not is I teach yoga a couple days a week. And I'm just like a child's pose down dog type girl. Yeah. I don't usually get fancy. I don't really like to be upside down and on my head that often. So I'm more into the relaxed yoga.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking my language. Tanisha, about you. What about you? You do yoga?
I don't do yoga.
Okay.
So I can do a pose. I'm like, what's the horizontal? Like I'm in bed. I'll do that.
Just like that can be yoga.
All right. So our money questions for this week. If you received $13,000, what would you do with it?
How do you answer? Can I answer like ways? Like if it's like the money, what would I do with it? Like if I had a kid being born in 3 weeks, what would I do?
Sure. Go for it. Any way you want.
And you can be selfish,
Absolutely.
12,000 on me.
It's a safe space.
I'll buy a crib. Like you can say that. It's fine.
Yeah. There's some bills I would pay off and then a little bit of saving I would do. But if I didn't personally need the money, I think that a great organization in the Napa Valley that, again, is doing a lot is the Farm Worker Foundation. They are doing awesome programs, for farm workers, whether it's housing, English classes, career advancement classes. They're really digging in with, our farm worker community here is not migrant. They don't come and leave. They live here. They're part of the community. So these education programs and the Farm Worker Foundation is where if I had the extra change, I would always send it there.
I don't know what change means. I'm gonna have to Google that.
Tanisha, what is your answer this week?
So I think with the other money that I've already gotten a Chanel bag, and a couple more Yerman bracelets and a Hermes bracelet. I've taken a trip. I actually really want to, and you about to be so surprised, start like an organization, a foundation or something like that to encourage young Black kids in the urban community, because I'm thinking south side of Chicago, encourage them and educate them on studying abroad and how important it is to study abroad. Because that's something, I traveled in my full grown adult life and realized and always thought back like, man, I wish I'd had a study abroad, whether it's I went to a university abroad or just did a semester abroad, but that's something I didn't know about. So of course I haven't fleshed this out because I don't have $13,000, but that's something that I would really want to think about how I can go about getting that started and implementing that in places to just, encourage that, educate them on it, and then encourage that.
That's really cool. I considered it when I was in college, but it was too expensive for me. It just wasn't something I could afford at the time.
Yeah. And then with more money, then, we get people to, donate money and help out and that kind of thing, get grants. And so offer scholarships and stuff for that. But even just so they'll know, because some people might even just be able to go to a university in another country. And it is so much cheaper to go to university somewhere else. So also that we will also encourage learning another language too. So that would be like a part of it. So yeah.
That's great. That's a great answer. Let's see. My answer, I've said this before. I live in a food desert in DC. And I think I would start some sort of program that feeds the elderly and elementary school kids. I feel like, especially with COVID and everything, kids aren't in school. They're not getting lunches. Like they're not getting fed. And also a lot of people forget about the elderly. They're suffering too. And I think it would have like a sort of like a Meals on Wheels program to deliver to both populations.
I love it. At first I thought you were going to say community garden, because I felt like that would be your thing of like growing.
That would be, I don't have a green thumb though. That would be so cute if I knew how to do that kind of thing.
I see that being you.
If anybody wants to teach me, that'd be awesome. But no, I do not. I do not have a green thumb.
Somebody at her.
Mm-mm. Well, Bree is doing her best. Poor Brianna, she's doing her best to explain to me stuff, but it's wow.
Well, she gave up on me.
All right, next question. What is your favorite girls trip destination?
Vegas.
For real?
Yeah.
I've never been to Vegas. I think that's why I responded like that.
I mean, I'm saying it like I've done it, but I mean, I've done it a couple of times and it was fun. So that's what I'm just saying, Vegas.
Okay. Like
other places. I mean, where else do people go on girls trips? Like
what? Are you kidding me? New Orleans all day.
New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans was fun. I think since I did that a couple of times, and the way I did it, that was just so. New Orleans just so hot. It's fun, but like I'm hot and uncomfortable.
Okay. Did you have braids? That matters.
I think
your hair matters in New Orleans because it's so humid.
I've had short hair. I've had braids. I've had full weave. Like I've had all of the looks.
Okay.
It's always hot.
You're right.
Allison, what's your answer?
You know, I've been on a few girl trips to Vegas, not in a while. And it's what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
The last girls trip was to Ojai. So it's, between here and LA, it's just like a little quiet town. So if you're looking for a chill girls trip where you just kind of sit by the pool and hang out, that was an awesome one that I've kind of held on to the last year until we can all get together and go on another trip.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've chilled out enough the past year. That's why I'm like, all trips now are all turn up all the time.
But we like chilled out by ourselves. With
so like I don't want to chill out with somebody else. Like if I with other people, like full turn up every time. So I was like, ooh, Vegas first. What has the most amount of lights and stuff and sounds and activities? Vegas.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my answer is New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Orleans is fun.
New Orleans is a lot of fun. It's
hit the street and all that food. New Orleans wears me out.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot on your liver. But
you're eating so much, you can never really be drunk.
That is certainly not true. Certainly not true.
I think that was my problem. I was eating too much.
What is your favorite dish to add avocado to?
I'm such a millennial that it's just the avocado toast. I wish I could say something that was not as basic as that, but
I don't know, mine's about to be more basic because I'm about to say nachos.
Okay. Avocado is great on nachos.
Yeah, basic.
And toast.
Nachos.
I was just gonna say eggs. I love avocado on eggs.
Yeah, it is delicious. But no, basic. Nachos with avocado, also known as guacamole. So yeah.
Well, that wraps up all of the questions. Allison, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I hope that when everything gets lifted, you guys can come visit in Napa, hopefully around harvest time, and I can show you what it's all about.
I would love that. Before we go, tell everybody where they can follow you and the winery.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at Cliff Lede Vineyards, or a sister brand at FEL, F-E-L. And you can find us at ladefamilywines.com. Lede is spelled L-E-D-E.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy the rest of your week, and thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, Allison. It was great talking to you.
Have a good week, guys.
And good luck in your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that is our show. We'd like to thank Allison again for joining us. We had a great time getting to know her and learning all about Cliff Lede Vineyards. The Swirl Suite is going on spring break. So we are taking a 2-week break. This is a time for you to go catch up on some episodes you may have missed. They're all awesome. You can also use this time to follow us all on Instagram if you haven't already. You can find myself, Sarita, at Vine Me Up, Tanisha at Girl Meets Glass, Leslie at Vino 301, and The Wine Concierge, and lastly, Glennis at Vino Noir. And you can follow the Swirl Suite at Swirl Suite. So check us out, follow. If you have any ideas about show guests, just let us know, give us a holler, send us a DM, or just email us at swirlsuite@gmail.com. Have a great Easter. Cheers.